Hello everyone. In this video, you're gonna learn what is UX and UI mean and some example of it. And then I'm gonna show you how we apply those in our project. Have you ever heard about UI UX? Once in a lifetime? No? Then let me explain this for you. You may think these two things are the same, but they aren't. They're very different. So, let's start with UX first. UX stands for User Experience Design. Is the best way to design product based on collecting information from the users. It's all about how user interaction or experience with the product or service. And for the next one, UI. UI stands for User Interface Design. It starts with one main question, which is how easy is it for the users to complete their tasks. UI cover all the products no matter it physical experiences or digital experiences and mainly focus on user visual experience. If you still confusing about UI UX, take a look at this of a ketchup bottle design here. This picture show exactly how UI and UX work and related to each other. The right bottle, which a user experience in this case, is an easy squeeze ketchup bottle that clearly based on the user experience. The next one is the user interface, which is a glass ketchup bottle that the design mainly focus on the looks. See? UI and UX was so helpful for designing products because knowing our target users' personas can make us know what users want, which is easier to reach the target group and how can they interact with the interface or how long they can use it. So, what products that need UI UX to help them design? If about what we've been studying for a year and a half. Creating any game would be the most UI UX needed and useful one because game is a product that the user can interact with them directly by playing the game. Not only creating good design of interface, but it also can improve or edit old products into the better version so we can reach more target users. Now you've already known what is UX and UI mean, so next, we're gonna show you how we apply it in our project. Turning to our project, the first step is choosing a game we want to make an experiment. We had decided to use the famous action-adventure video game named Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me.
The game was developed by Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal and released on the 14th of September, 2018. In the game, players have to play as a female protagonist named Lara Croft. Players can adventure, fight, and solve some puzzle based on the story. And about the system, we decided to play the game on PC. The second step is selecting a part in the game for the experiment and make the research questions. A part of the game we have chosen is the Trial of Eagle, which is a part that contains a lots of puzzle and player have to get to the top, which is our main goal for the test. About our research questions, we have discussed with each other that we're gonna make the testers clear the part of Trial of Eagle within 1 hour by separating those players in 2 groups. The first group is called non-experienced player who's never or barely play any type of game before. In this group, we set the option in gameplay as the normal mode to make sure it's not that hard for them. And the second group is called pro player. In the pro player, in this case we're talking about the people who have played many kind of game before, no matter it's action adventure or not. We decided to set level of exploration difficulty and puzzle difficulty as hard mode. Not only change the mode of level, but we also turn off the survival instinct beacon mode too. Because we want to know how fast for the pro player will learn and clear the mission even they play in the hard mode. If the player can clear the mission on time and have time left to play, the player must keep playing until they're running out of time. This can tell us that how far the player can go in an hour and how fast they can learn the game. And the reason why we don't limit number of dead to our testers is we want to let the players feel free to try whatever they want in the test and how fast each person can learn and understand how the game works by recording the reaction of each player. The third step is finding our testers who want to join us. In this step, we have to find the players who have ever or never played the type of game before. They can be anyone who want to try the game. And at last, we finally find 13 persons and listed their name as the number of testers. As we mentioned earlier about separating our tester into two groups, which mean in these 13 players, we have 8 persons who is defined as pro player, which are 6 of males and 2 of females, and the rest is defined by non-experienced player, which are 1 of male and 4 of females. Now, we have our research question and testers. So, the fourth step is making our plan, set the schedule, prepare some equipments and plan the questions before and after the experiment. The planning is showing us all the steps and list of things we have to do with a specific deadline in the schedule. And before we can set our schedule, we have to make an appointment with our testers to set the date, time and the place of their experiment. After the dates have been set, we noted the dates, some of our plans in our schedule and also the specific time and place including the equipment we have to use. Next is the questions before and after the experiment. The point of questions before the test is to collect persona of our tester, which have name, gender, age, career, relationship status, and some of game experience. Turning to the point of questions after the test is to ask their opinion for this game. For examples, about their feeling, they pass the mission or not, the easiest, hardest, and funnest part in the game, their favorite things to do in the game, and some of important things that they think they must have to pass the mission. The fifth step is let our tester done the questions before the experience and start the experience, follow the schedule. We will show you some question and the result. First question is have ever played an action, adventure video game before? And the result is 76.9% of the players has ever played this type of game before and 23.1% has ever played. The second question is have ever played another game of Tomb Raider before? And for the result is 61.5% have never played before. And the last question is have you ever want to play the Shadow of Tomb Raider? And they said 53.8% ever interested and want to play the game. During the test, we have recording players' interaction, screen recorder, and also noted the player's behavior. And after all these steps, we let tester finished questions after the test and collecting all information we have, which is the sixth step. Next, the seventh step or the last step is conclusion and analysis of the result of our experiment. For our overview, test result is 10 players can clear the mission, which is consist of 7 for pro players and 3 testers for non-experienced players, and the rest 3 testers who failed the mission consist of 1 pro players and 2 non-experienced players. As you can see, this is the conclusion table of the experiment, which assigned an order about number of testers, types of testers, pass or fail the mission, time they spend in minutes to pass the mission, the place they can reach in an hour, number of dead, and characteristic behavior of both players and what they do in the game. After we finish the table, we can also see the fastest and slowest player who can finish the goal. The fastest player, considered as pro player, has used only 18 minutes to clear the mission, and the slowest player, considered as an unexperienced player, has used 54 minutes to reach the target. Based on players' behavior during the test, we separated our testers into 4 groups. The first group is weird behaviors, because while they playing game, some of them singing weird song that doesn't exist, or making noises such as a cat meow, and mostly they didn't make it past the trial of eagle. We analyzed that these players most have less concentration in playing the game, or keep making sound, or singing to make themselves to be more concentrate and try to calm themselves down in order to continue to play the part. The second group is real non-experience. In the real non-experience group, they keep walking around the same spot because they cannot find the way to go on and have much hesitation. Even after they can solve some puzzle, they will always get back to the previous spot because of their misunderstanding, or cannot remember the path they passed before, or thought that it is the right way to go next. They also died many times more than the other types in many of the same spot. These happen most in the type because some of them cannot remember, or don't use to the controller, or jumping in the wrong time.
จ้าเราจะไปทางไหนเนี่ย
The third group is apprentice. This type of players got an experience with this type of game, or have played it before, but still get confused in some path. For example, about the direction, how to find the path, or cannot remember some direction. The good side in the group is, they know that they need to check the character ability in the buttons first, and remember how to use it before start to play. And in the group, because of their confusion, it make the players take a bit longer time than the professional testers to figure it out. And finally, the fourth group is real professional tester, because the players in the group have the most concentration in playing the game, and have more experience than other groups, so they are fast learner, and they can solve the puzzle real quick than the others. They are also asked right away if they get confused about anything. They usually understand about normal controllers and game system and have their own sense what they have to do next. Not only the four groups of testers, but we also found a special case in the outstanding player who are an apprentice and real professional tester. For the special case, he accidentally found the secret path which the rest 12 persons cannot find it. And what make he found the secret path? It because he wandered around and did not follow the main path strictly. And about the outstanding player, she can break the record by achieve the goal in a shortest time, furthermost length of the path, and smallest number of dead. As we considered, the player have played another Tomb Raider game before, so that means she already has an experience, understand the controller and used to the game system more than other players.
Still standing after centuries of earthquakes and storms. This looks promising. Magnificent. this one yet. Yes, that'll hold. There. Good, the ladder should turn now. Huracan, face to face in a temple built in your honor. Giving way.
Laura, how's it going?
I found another serpent with a silver eye. I must be getting close. You?
Talking tattoos with Uchu.
Tattoos?
Yeah, you saw Unuratu's, right? It has a heron and an eclipse on it. That might have something to do with the silver box.
I don't think so. Looks like this is the only way, okay? Full of oil and blood. There. That barrier's down. Need to keep moving. This must be what Trinity's missing.
Turn to the map of our mission. We have marked some dots on it so you can compare and understand easily about our experiment result. Let's begin with the flags. First, the blue flag means the starting point. Second is the gold flag, which means our mission, the goal. Third one is the orange flag, meant the secret path that the player have found it during the test. Fourth is the red flag, which is the point that the player who has gone the longest reaches. And the last one is the red dot, showed mostly the player died at this point. After the test, we have survey those player by give them some questions. And the question is, what are things that the players think are the most important things to pass the game without losing life? And most of them said that they must have observation, aptitude, concentration, and rememberable the path. The next question is about things that the players think the game need to improve, and most of them said that even the environment looks so realistic, but the jumping system is not that realistic, such as sometimes it's impossible for a human to jump that far, and this make them afraid to jump because they don't think it can reach to the other side. They also want the game to have more path for the player to get to the same goal and have more tutorial for them. Then the next questions is about the obstacles that the player has experienced. Most of the player said that the computer we used during the test has error, and sometime they have problem about using controller of jumping and press E button. For the non-experienced player, they said they couldn't find the white paint on the wall, which is the hints of the path to go on, and some of our testers usually keep dying at the same spot with both the same and various reasons. Turning to the last important question we asked player after they played the game. It about they wanna continue played or buying the game or not. 4 players or 30.8% said they want to because some of them have played the other Tomb Raider game and some said they want to know how the story will go on. Having some hesitation. 2 players, which is 15.4%, said that they quite enjoy the game but they did not want to buy it, and the rest, 53.8%, said that don't want to play or buy the game because they did not think that they could play it to the end and they did not like the story. Related with the case of player who don't want to continue to play the game, we can conclude that the most important things of the action-adventure video game type is not the game system or puzzle but it's the story. If the story of the game is boring, player will easily don't interested in and stop to play it. You can see from result that, without any thought, some player quickly press the spacebar to skip while it's playing cutscene which is about the story in this game. According to Nielsen's 5 dimensions of usability, first thing is about learnability of users. By comparing the average of time each players had spent to complete the mission, we have 2 normal learners, 7 fast learners, and 4 slower learners. If we focus on fast learner and slow learner, we will see that most of fast the learners are pro player and have played various game before the test. In other hand, with the slower learns, most of them are non-experienced players so they have quite low of experience with games. The second is efficiency. As we know about learnability of users then we can apply it to make it more efficiency. But how can we make it? By creating various types of mode for player. Player can select the suitable mode for them and have fun with it without worry about they cannot play it or say thing like it's too hard or too easy for them to play. Or if the player quite professional so we have hard, very hard, and extremely hard mode for them to choose too. And the third thing is memorability. How easy of your design can people remember? Not only about interface or controllers but it also about the path or characters in the game have to has unique and clear silhouette for players to easy for remember all these while playing. The good design, by using logo, color, or the simple element of design, can make players remember since the first time they've seen the design, but they can remember it and easily to recover it when they are not using it for long time. The fourth is minimize errors. Error can separate into 2 types which are collectible and unacceptable errors. The design can make errors but how can we make least errors in our interface? By learning about the world's localization and persona of users can help us avoid some of disagreement from the users. So in the game, we can see that the story they created based on the history in South America. Then to avoid those errors, they have studied much about the history and it's believable before build up the story. The last one is satisfaction of users. In the case, because the game is a type of an action adventure video game so the most important is the story and how player can interact as protagonist so the most satisfied for player is all about the story. And our result from testing the game show that most play feel bored when they play the game and they don't want to continue play it. And that won't be a good sign for the game and it comes to the user interface design and other game design of the Tomb Raider game that may be one of the reason that the player want to stop instead of continue the game. Start with the key controllers, just like the other PC game. The Shadow of the Tomb Raider using most basic key as a controller which is W, A, S, D to move around and press the spacebar in order to jump. Mostly if the player did not check about the controller at the beginning page. The game will remind the player about the controller or anything that the player should do at the loading page, which most people ignore it. And that is what happened during the test. Some of the tester did not check about the key controller first, and they will keep asking about the key during the test. Another problem that we found during the test with the key controller is most of the tester have problem with pressing 3 keys at the same time, which is W, spacebar and E to keep going forward and then jump to the other cliff. The hints that the player will discover in the game in normal mode is a white paint on the wall which will show where to go next. Well, some people may wonder why it has to be white. The answer is simple and based on the visual hierarchy, that the most important elements should have the most contrast and the most visual weight, but also based on the director of the game interview said that when you're building a world, you don't think about white paint at the beginning, and the white paint always comes after. It's when people are lost that we have to paint that in. In this case, we have this awesome world of discovery where Lara finds her first living tomb. That's a great feeling, but then you get lost, and we add in the white paint and suddenly you lose that initial vision, that initial beauty of being there, because now you know you're in a video game again and you're just following that paint. And also, if the hints is a white paint, in this case any colorblind person can also recognize the hints. What we've been talking is all about the shadow of the Tomb Raider, but what about the comparison with other game in the same categories? Since the group of player who don't want to continue game said the story is pretty boring, there's one game in action adventure type that real similar to the Tomb Raider, and once got a nickname Dude Raider, and the real name is Uncharted. Uncharted is an action-adventure video game series developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for PlayStation consoles with a male protagonist Nathan Drake. What else? Uncharted was on 16 rated while Shadow of the Tomb Raider is 18. The huge difference that we've seen so far is the storyline, that Uncharted have a serious story but with a sense of humor, which for some player it better, and also more various type of characters and more interesting place that the player could go.